Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. I am Prabhupada, Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahansa Prabhashakacharya Ashtottara Shruti Sissimhat Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki Gandharaj Srimad Bhagwatam ki Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glory to the Assembled Devotees, all glory to the Assembled Devotees, all glory to the Assembled Devotees, all glory to Shri Guru, Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So happy to have the association of all you wonderful Vaishnavas, and those of you especially who are taking the responsibility and burden of managing whatever you're managing for the pleasure of Sri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada. I'm very happy also to see Radha Krishna and Mahaprabhu, because this was the system of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that he would establish this, establishing the highest principle in spiritual life, that Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya, that there is no difference between Radha and Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And actually, even in Kolkata, Prabhupada established Radha Govinda Mahaprabhu. So now, of course, later Prabhupada put Gaurnitai because we're preaching movement. And so, but it's good to have both, because that way we have this highest conception. And this is the whole understanding of the 8th chapter of Madhya Lila. So today, read from first canto, 16th chapter, text number 4, kingly duties, which we all have, many of us have. No, we may not be kings, certainly we're not on the level of Parikshit Maharaj, but we can learn from everything. One thing I've been saying everywhere I go, something I was very impressed by, when I was in Budapest, at the time of Bhagwatam class and Bhagavad Gita class, they keep the Bhagavatam and the Gita and Chaitanya Charitamrita on the altar. And then when time for class, they bring on a silver tray with nice silk and bring the Bhagavatam so that we all remember how the Bhagavatam is not a book, it is Krishna in literary form. And otherwise we think it's a book, we say book distribution. It's actually not even book distribution, it's Krishna distribution, distributing Krishna. Actually, Srila Prabhupada had the idea in 1973, he had the idea of making little dolls of Chaitanya and Nityananda. And then the devotees would go out on Sankirtan and distribute these dolls. And see, these are great saints. You should put them on your altar and then they will bless you, so that everyone would get the mercy of Ornitan. So, anyway, let's go to the verse. Jijagraha jasabhidya kalim digvijayate kuchit Nipalinga dharam shudram Nantam go mitunam pada Nijagra haujasabhidya Kalim digvijaye kvachit Nipalinga dharam shudram Ganantam go mitunam pada Jaga haujasabhidya Kalim vijaye kvachit dharam shudram Nantam go mitunam pada Nijagra haujasabhidya Kalim digvijaye kvachit dharam shudram Nantam go mitunam pada Nijagra haujasabhidya Kalim digvijaye kvachit Nipalinga dharam shudram
Nijagra jasabhidya Kalim digvijaye kvachit Napalinga dharam shudram Nantam go mitunam pada
Nijagra haujasabhidya Kalim digvijaye kvachit Nipalinga dharam shudram Nantam go mitunam pada Nijagraha, sufficiently punished. Ojasa, by prowess. Vira, valiant hero. Kalim, unto Kali. the master of the age. Digvijaye, on his way to conquer the world. Kvachit, once upon a time, Nitpalingam Dharam, one who passes in the dress of a king. Shudram, the lower class. Nantam, herding. Gomitunam, a cow and bull. Pada, on the leg. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Someone would translate. Okay. What time do we start? Once, when Maharaj Parikshit was on his way to conquer the world, he saw the master of Kali Yuga, who was lower than a Shudra, disguised as a king and herding the legs of a cow and bull. The king at once caught hold of him to deal sufficient punishment. Everyone can repeat, please. Once, when Maharaj Parikshit was on his way to conquer the world, he saw the master of Kali Yuga, who was lower than a Shudra, disguised as a king and herding the legs of a cow and bull. Disguised, the king at once caught hold of him to deal sufficient punishment. Purport. The purpose of a king's going out to conquer the world is not for self-aggrandizement. Maharaj Parikshit went out to conquer the world after his ascendance to the throne. But this was not for the purpose of aggression on other states. He was the emperor of the world, and all small states were already under his regime. His purpose in going out was to see how things were going on in terms of a godly state. The king, being the representative of the Lord, has to execute the will of the Lord duly. There is no question of self-aggrandizement. Thus, as soon as Maharaj Parikshit saw that a low-class man in the dress of a king was herding the legs of a cow and bull, at once he arrested and punished him. The king cannot tolerate insults to the most important animal, the cow, nor can he tolerate disrespect for the most important man, the Brahmana. Chaitanyamano Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyatya Dishvatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I stopped in the middle of the purport because just to make some points. It is Kali Yuga, and one may forget, So Prabhupada would do that sometimes, stop. So some interesting words. Bira Kalim, no, the hero of Kali Yuga. No. Of course, and then Digvijayate, on his way to conquer the world. So the heroes of Kali Yuga, who are glorified in so many ways, politicians, kings, glorified for killing animals, glorified for, as it says here, doing everything for self-aggrandizement. You know, just like we see politicians, even sometimes we take up this practice a little bit. You know, devotees get an award and you have to stand there and give the award and receive the award. So, of course, we do that because it's glorious what the devotees are doing. But one must not think that because I'm getting my picture taken, getting the award, that I have become glorious. No. One should understand that I am a humble servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So heroes in Kali Yuga, they exploit. You know, the material world is a land of exploitation. Everything is exploitation here. Only the pure devotees are free from exploitation. And we can only be free from exploitation if we follow the pure devotees. Otherwise, what is the hope? But if we take this in a different way, the hero of Kali Yuga on his way to conquer the world, that is Srila Prabhupada. He is the real hero of Kali Yuga because he is going out and conquering the world for Krishna. You know, this is a real hero. A real hero is not someone who wants to take credit, but a real hero is one who gives credit to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees, you know, not taking credit for himself. So I was just thinking of that as I read this verse, that and hurting the legs of a cow and the bull. Srila Prabhupada, before joining Krishna consciousness, when I was in the university in the US, very few people were vegetarian. You know, I became vegetarian. I won't explain why, but I did for some reason. No, it was semi-religious. No, and then I met the devotees, but there were very few people who were vegetarian that I knew in the university. I had to struggle. No, there were some people, but not that many. Of course, I went to an engineering and science school, so they were less inclined not to be, not arts and science people. They were more like maybe inclined to be vegetarian. So, but then after a few years, Srila Prabhupada's movement became strong. And as we went to universities in the US and in Europe, many, many people have become vegetarian. It was because of Srila Prabhupada. So here we see the real hero, of course, the original hero, Parikshit Maharaj, protecting the cow and the bull. But we see the real hero of Kali Yuga, Srila Prabhupada, protecting the legs of the cow and the bull. Because even in India, that's happening, what to speak of in the West. And people are so ignorant. So this is our conquest. When Srila Prabhupada started the movement, there were just a few devotees in 1967. He said that actually the Pandavas won the war of Kurukshetra in 18 days. And then Prabhupada said, I can also conquer this world in 18 days, but you are not ready. No. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said that he would deliver the whole universe, But we see that after he left, the whole universe was not delivered. Why? Because he's leaving it to his devotees. He wants to give us the credit. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acted as a sannyasi, a renunciant, and he didn't take the credit. Every time someone would try to give him credit, he would say, "I'm just a Mayavadi sannyasi," or "I'm just a sannyasi. I'm a renounced order. What can I do?" So this is the nature of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said, "A leader is one who makes leaders." This is a real leader. Who makes other people leaders. Otherwise, to delegate, to give, not to subjugate others, put them under my control. We want to bring them up and put myself under their control. Because this is the nature and the mood of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He wants to bring everyone up. So that's one point I wanted to make on this. And Srila Prabhupada emphasizes, not for self-aggrandizement. We should never think that what I'm doing is for me. No. What I'm doing is for the pleasure of Sri Guru and Gauranga. When Lord Vishnu sent Narada Muni to several different situations, because Narada Muni asked, "Who is your greatest devotee?" So in one of those situations, he sent Narada Muni to speak to one Brahmin. And he said, "You tell this Brahmin that he immediately he can come to Vaikuntha." You can tell him that. And so Narada Muni went, "I have such great news for you. You have been promoted to Vaikuntha directly by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu." And he said, he said, "My dear Narada Muni, you are such a great personality. I do not know Vishnu. No. I only know my spiritual master. If my spiritual master tells me to go to Vaikuntha, I will go. And if he tells me to stay here, I will stay. I don't know Vishnu." So, of course, we try to know Vishnu. Srila Prabhupada actually never brought attention upon himself. He never said, "I'm doing this." Every time something was accomplished or someone would compliment him, he would say, "This is the mercy of my Guru Maharaj." So this is our consciousness. No, we're never doing anything for ourselves. And this is the most dangerous position. Pride, Pride is the first demoniac quality that is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. The first thing, pride, so dangerous. So dangerous. And of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastikam, so important to be humble, so important to be tolerant, so important to show respect to all other living entities. Even Bhaktivinoda Thakur establishes as the fourth type of aparad, jiva aparad. If you commit some aparad against a jiva, and that's why even when we're driving in a vehicle, all these bugs will get smashed on the windshield. So we have to make sure that everything I'm doing in this vehicle is for Krishna. Otherwise, all those living entities, I will have to pay the price. And so that's our consciousness. We always want to be focused on the Supreme Personality of God. So Srila Prabhupada says his purpose was to see how everything is going in the state. Just like some of us have this position, GBC. It's not like some elevated thing. It's we're just going to see that everything is going nicely in the temple. Or in the temple leader, or the RSAs, or, we have all these designations, all these upadhis, and you're going to see that everything is going nicely. You're going to serve the Vaishnavas. You want to make sure that the Vaishnavas are properly taken care of. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when the devotees would come to Jagannath Puri, he would come outside the temple and give them garlands and put sandalwood paste on their foreheads. And he would make sure that they had prasada. This is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's teaching us. Of course, Krishna, whether he's in the form of Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Ramachandra, he wants to bring all the living entities to the shelter of his lotus feet. So then Srila Prabhupada mentions that a king, he punished Kali because the king cannot tolerate an offense against the cows. We also should feel this way. We cannot tolerate this. Just like in my other area of responsibility, Latin America, there are some countries, Trinidad, Tobago, Guyana, Suriname, where it's a big Hindu population. So every time I do a television radio program, I speak a little strongly. I say, what kind of Hindus are you? I don't see that the cows are being protected. And I tell them, I ask many farmers, what do you do with the old cow? Oh, we sell them. I said, you sell them and then they will be slaughtered. Oh, we just sell them. And so who wants to buy an old cow? No. Who is going to buy it? You think that you're selling to someone and they're buying this old cow so they can protect it and paying you, you think that? And so then they, what can I do? They don't even sit. They're so detached, so removed from even their Hindu culture, what to speak of Krishna consciousness. So I'm just saying this, to how important, how we have to preach this principle, especially here in India. Of course, in India, the cow is very sacred, and most Hindus think that way. But on the other hand, they're allowing that other people can kill the cow. So some of our leaders have been strong, and that's good. Some of even our political leaders have been strong to stop this. But the only ones that can really stop this are the devotees of this Hare Krishna movement. We're the only ones that can, because the politicians, they say it, they establish a law, but then it goes on. They're not going out with a sword and punishing these people because they are selling cows. So many cows. Actually, at one point, I don't know if it's still true, but at one point, India was the biggest exporter of leather in the world. And so, what does that mean? It's not goat leather. No. It's not chicken leather. No. So, and even that's not good. So, they have to be punished. And then Srila Prabhupada says, must protect the most important man, the Brahmins. Srila Prabhupada said, our temples are for training Brahmins, for forming Brahmins, for training Brahmins. This is the purpose. Prabhupada said it again and again. The main purpose of our temple is not to have 100,000 people come by and look at the deity. No, that's not the main purpose. That's also there. That's important. But what will they gain? They'll get a little charnamrita, they'll see the deity. But what are they asking for? The most important thing is that we train Brahmins so that they go out and teach people what is the purpose of life. This is the real purpose of our temples, not to, just to create a big place where people can meal through and maybe get a cup of khichdi and take darshan. That's also important. But the main thing is that we have Brahmins who are qualified and have the purity in the heart that they can convince these people to take up Krishna consciousness. Because this is what Srila Prabhupada wanted. Srila Prabhupada said that I cannot think small. My defect is that I think big. And Prabhupada wanted us to think big like that. And not only to have big temples, but make sure that what goes on in those temples is big. Big in the level of purity. So this is such a great responsibility that we have as leaders of the Krishna consciousness movement. And everyone is a leader in Krishna consciousness. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Atta eva ami agya dilun sabakare chahan tahan prema pala deha jaritari. He said, I order every person within the universe, you must take up this Krishna consciousness and distribute the fruits of love of God, which are Srila Prabhupada's books. These are practical fruits. There's other fruits also. You can give them Krishna Prema, but how many people can we give Krishna Prema to? Or how many of us are even qualified to give Krishna Prema? That's another question. You can't give something you don't have. But we can give them Srila Prabhupada's books, which can give them at least give them an idea what Krishna Prema is. And then we have to become so purified that we can give Krishna Prema. So such a big responsibility that we have taken up. So Kali Yuga, Prayanal Payusha Saddha, Kalavasmin Yuge Jana, that in this age everything is topsy-turvy. Everything is contaminated. Manda, sumanda matayu. Manda, everyone is spiritually lazy. Even sometimes we are spiritually lazy. We have to be careful of that. And we have to be vigilant in our temples that everyone is properly engaged. Srila Prabhupada, I remember in Delhi temple, 1976, Srila Prabhupada was there and I was fortunate to be there. And he said, we were, a few of us were walking around trying to follow Srila Prabhupada. He was looking around and he said, why are there so many devotees in the temple? And he said, everyone should be out distributing books. And so everybody left. There was only one pujari at that time, taking care of everything. One pujari. And of course, now we have bigger altars, you can't do that. But the point is that Prabhupada said that everyone should be fully engaged all day long. Just like one head pujari, I won't mention where, came to me and said, it's so difficult to get the devotees to do something. Most of our pujaris have only 3 to 5 hours of service. I said, what? I said, if you live in the temple, I said, how many live in the temple? If they live outside, okay, that's a different thing. But if the temple is maintaining them, that's another thing. Then they have to do 8 hours service. Otherwise, how can you maintain someone for doing 3 hours service, 4 hours service? And I said, if they live in the temple, then it's 24 hours of service only. Then the rest of the time, they can do what they want. But 24 hours service, they must do. So, because that's what it means to live in the ashram. It means even your sleeping is service. You have to sleep in such a way that you are serving Krishna. You are remembering this body is Krishna's property. I have to rest it so that I can get up and serve Krishna very enthusiastically. So this is what Srila Prabhupada's idea of how our temples should be. And everything based on book distribution, everything based on worshiping the deity very nicely. Everything. In 1972, Srila Prabhupada wrote 5 letters about boiling the milk, always making sure that our temple is, the standard of purity is to the highest degree. and everyone is properly trained, and everyone is performing devotional service all day long. That service may be studying the Bhagwatam. Just like one time I always tell this story that Srila Prabhupada, the devotees picked him up in Kolkata to take him, that time was Calcutta, but now it's Kolkata. And they were taking him to Mayapur, and they said, Prabhupada, one devotee, he's only reading your books. Prabhupada said, oh, very nice. So Prabhupada, he's not doing any service. Prabhupada said, hearing is not service. Parikshit Maharaj, Vayoshiki. No, this is not service. No, Prabhupada, but he's not doing any practical service. Oh, Bhagwatam is not practical? No. Devotees say, what are we going to do? If Prabhupada allows this to happen, then everybody will. They were really frustrated. One of the leaders that was there told me this, how he was frustrated. Everybody was looking at one another like, what are we going to do? This is like a plague, a plague of reading too much. And then what Prabhupada was just chanting, but he waited for like 15 minutes. And then he smiled and he said, of course, if he is reading my books, he will know that he must do service. Jai Prabhupada. Anyway, this is how Prabhupada wanted everyone to be engaged. And so Manda Sumanda Matayo. People are spiritually lazy, and Sumanda Matayo, and the leaders are even more spiritually lazy. They're misguiding people. If I'm spiritually lazy, just like Srila Prabhupada said, 4 classes of people. Lazy intelligent, the best, because they engage others in service. Intelligent, active intelligent, very good. They get a lot of things done. Then active fool, the most dangerous. Because he's a fool and he disturbs others. And lazy fool, not so dangerous because he's just wasting his life. So we have to be active intelligent. I mean, this is our leader, lazy intelligent. I mean, not lazy, we don't do something, but it means we delegate. We try to engage others in devotional service. Not to avoid service ourselves, but that's done. The first way you engage others in service is by giving the example. That's the most important thing, because in Kali Yuga, everyone wants to see. They can't hear. It's very difficult to hear. They want to see. So they should see us engaged day and night in devotional service. Not that I'm sitting, in my big asan, you do this, you do that, and they don't see me doing anything except telling them to do this and that. But we should be actively engaged, leading. Just like here, Parikshit Maharaj is leading. He's leading the others. It's said here in the Bhagwatam that when Parikshit Maharaj would come, the kings would immediately bow down. No one would challenge him. He was so powerful. No one would challenge him. This is the sign of a great king. So, Kali Yuga, Manda Bhagya, even if you happen to have a good king, and even if you're somewhat engaged in, some kind of service, we're all unfortunate, which means that we have to tolerate the onslaught. We have to accept Krishna's mercy however it comes, because in Kali Yuga, Manda Bhagya, we're not here, we didn't come here from Goloka Vrindavan to save everyone. No, we're here because Manda Bhagya, we're unfortunate. And Yubadrutaha, of course, that's not applying to the devotees. We're not disturbed, hopefully. No. But we see many devotees are disturbed. And when we see devotees are disturbed, we should not become disturbed. We should think, What can I do better so that they are not disturbed? No. What can I do better so that every devotee is happy? We see Ramachandra, he went out personally in the kingdom to see if everyone was happy. And so these are some things that we have to do. I'll just read the rest of the purport here. Human civilization means to advance the cause of Brahminical culture and to maintain it. Cow protection is essential. There is a miracle in milk, for it contains all the necessary vitamins to sustain the human psychological conditions for higher achievements. Brahminical culture can advance only when a man is educated to develop the quality of goodness. And for this, there is a prime necessity of food prepared with milk, fruits, and grains. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, once the devotees picked him up, take him to New Vrindavan. It's a long ride, like over an hour ride, almost hour and a half ride. And that time it was even more because now the road is better, but that time it was a very bad road. So they brought Prabhupada some milk sweets. And usually Prabhupada would take one little piece, but this time he ate 4 or 5 sweets. The devotees were very happy. Oh, Prabhupada. No. And he said, this was my program. We're eating sweets? He said, and he looked at Kirtan and he said, was it not my program? No, and he didn't know what to say. Yes, Prabhupada. We agree with Prabhupada, that's good. So he said, you give them ghee, this will give them intelligence. No. Otherwise, they have no intelligence. Actually, one devotee, once he had mental disturbance, Prabhupada said, give him a spoonful of ghee 3 times a day. Feed his brain. And so then Prabhupada said, this was my program. I made no demands. I simply said, come, take prasadam and Krishna Kirtan. This was my program. I did not ask them for anything. No. And later they came voluntarily, so I engaged them. No. So this was Srila Prabhupada's. No. Then everyone understood. This is our program. We sacrifice. We give prasadam. We give out these books. We do everything for Krishna's pleasure. No. So this is the importance of ghee. No. Maharaj Pariksha was astonished to see that a black Shudra dressed like a ruler was mistreating a cow, the most important animal in human society. In Kali Yuga, the dog is very fortunate and the cow is very unfortunate. No, in Kali Yuga. But this is the most important animal. And just that the dog has become so prominent shows how Kali Yuga has progressed. The age of Kali means mismanagement and quarrel. And the root cause of all mismanagement and quarrel is that worthless men with the modes of lower class men who have no higher ambition in life come to the helm of state management. Such men at the post of a king are sure to first hurt the cow and the Brahminical culture, thereby pushing all society towards hell. Maharaj Parikshit, trained as he was, got the scent of this root cause of all quarrel in the world. Thus he wanted to stop it in the very beginning. So, as the Bhagwatam says, Tatas chanu, atitam dina, dharma. That dharma, satyam shaucham shama daya, dharma will decrease daily in Kali Yuga. And the 4 pillars, truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, and austerity will be destroyed. Kalena balina rajan. This is the force of Kali Yuga. It's very powerful. Nang shatya or balam shvitihi. That everything will be destroyed in Kali Yuga. No, everything. There will be no memory. There will be no strength. Everything will be destroyed. Only this Krishna consciousness movement can save the people in Kali Yuga. So it said, it defines these people. They come to the helm of state management, and they simply destroy everything. We see this. In India, we have, fortunately, we have a good leader. I'm considering politicians, just like they said about Mahatma Gandhi. He is a saint among politicians and a politician among saints. So, he does a good job, but he's not up there yet. And a politician, no matter how nice they want to be, they have to take into consideration all these other situations in Kali Yuga. So there's one point I wanted to make in this regard, that I'm trying to remember it now. Might be my last point. Kind of. No, that wasn't my point. That they must be punished. It must be punished. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have the case of Gopinath Patanaik. What did he do? He simply mismanaged money. And the king's son, Pataparudra's son, he was a little, he had a defect that he would look up like this, had a problem with his neck or something. And so Gopinath, when the king wanted to punish him, he insulted the prince, wanted to punish him, so he insulted him because he brought some horses. But the prince was not, certainly wasn't on the level of Prataparudra, and he gave a very low price. And then, so Gopinath said, my horses are more valuable than you think. They don't look up in the air and go like this. False ego. No. So we should be very careful that when we're managing, if someone says something, we don't become insulted because they hurt our false ego. No. We're not here to defend our false ego. One should remain in a saintly platform. This is one of the biggest problems I see, that lack of amanina, lack of being free from any desire for respect. And somebody insults me. Well, if somebody insults me, then I should be happy. Thank you very much. Not that, they insulted me, I will give. Of course, if they insult me in my position as a leader in front of others, then I may have to defend my position, but not my false ego. So this is a very tricky thing within the mind, within the consciousness. How you separate your false ego from your position, just like defending the body. If someone attacks our body, then we have to defend it because it's Krishna's property, not because it's my body. If it's my body, if I think it's my body, better they slap it around a little bit. Then I'll realize it's not my body. I'm not this body. But if I think this is Krishna's property, then I must defend it. So this is, I just wanted to make this point, that as leaders, we have to be very careful that we don't allow anger. We use anger. We may have to use anger to deal with some situation. Prabhupada, sometimes we would become so angry, his lips would quiver. But because the thing that made Prabhupada most angry, anyone know what it was? It was if he said something to somebody and they made the same mistake again. No. And then Prabhupada said one time, a devotee said, Prabhupada, we're just Kali Yugites. No. He said, all right, one time I tell you, 2 times I tell you. If I tell you 3 times, then finished. No, otherwise, especially he said this to his secretaries or his servants. To be the secretary of Srila Prabhupada or the servant, I've spoken to most of them. I didn't have that privilege, but they said, oh, it was like very heavy. It was very nectarian, but any little mistake, if the chapati wasn't properly inflated, and one would think, well, that's a little extreme. But Prabhupada was seeing, these chapatis are for Krishna. You have to know how to make it properly. If it wasn't hot and it wasn't inflated, he would say, take it away. And then Prabhupada would ring the bell at Shrutakirti Bhuttam, take it away, and say, why do I not have a chapati? Prabhupada, you just told me to take it away. I should have another chapati. So Prabhupada is teaching that you have to make sure everything happens, and you shouldn't allow your mistake to be inconvenience the spiritual master, because that mistake will inconvenience Krishna, will inconvenience the deity, will inconvenience the Vaishnavas. So this is the standard that Srila Prabhupada taught us, that we have to be very, very careful. So even in punishment should always be done. Even I always tell the leaders, and I will finish with this, and we won't have any questions because we have a meeting, but I always tell the leaders that when you're dealing with devotees, you have to be very, very careful. Srila Prabhupada said, if you correct someone, it is just like bamboo. You have to know how to bend it, but don't break it. You have to be very careful that when you're instructing devotees, that if you just make sure that they don't become too disturbed by what you're doing, then they go away. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, if one brahmachari would leave the temple, sometimes he would cry. If a brahmachari left the temple, because he felt like, as he said, and Prabhupada repeated it, to make a person into a devotee makes you have to spend gallons of blood, so many liters of blood, so much effort to make someone a devotee, which, if we look at the other side of that, how much time we need to invest to make sure that people become devotees with a proper standard. Not that we just have some mechanical thing, but there has to be proper understanding and realization of Srila Prabhupada's books. Because that's what we need in our temples. That's what we need to open new temples. People who are very fixed in Krishna consciousness, not just with some theoretical knowledge, but that knowledge is deep-rooted in their heart and allows them to accept whatever they need to accept for Krishna's pleasure. So anyway, these are some points. I thought of some other things, but there's no time. We have to meet and make sure that we're doing everything properly. We should. Well, it's getting late. Well, anyway, one question, if there is a question. I have to put in my artificial ears, Kali Yuga.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you for the enlightening class. Question I have is that in this modern age, cow protection is a massive problem. And a lot of people are turning to veganism. So completely avoiding cow protection. A lot of ISKCON people in the West particularly, they are turning to vegan. So please report how is there any protection
Well, if it's a big challenge, then we should come up to the challenge. That was Srila Prabhupada's. Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me once that every time I would go into Prabhupada's room, I was afraid because I knew that he would give me a new assignment. I already had more than I could do. So this was Prabhupada's move. Prabhupada always pushing us to do more for Krishna. So the bigger the challenge, the more determination we should have. And of course, Prabhupada said two things. He would say that you have to, we have to conquer the world. And then Prabhupada would say, don't be surprised who stays, be surprised who leaves, be surprised who stays. So both things Prabhupada said. We have to conquer the world, but he also, pure devotional service is not so easy. And many people will go away, or many people will deviate, or they will take advantage of Krishna's property for their own desire, for their own comfort, for their own well-being. So these are the challenges that we have, and we have to come up to the challenge. Not that we think, oh, it's too difficult, so we can't do it. We have to do it. The Bhagwatam is telling this is our duty, especially as leaders. We have to stop this. So how do we stop it? By purity of the heart. How did Srila Prabhupada make millions of people into devotees? And still is making people into by his books, by his purity. It is the purity of the heart that gives us the strength and determination. That even allows us to go out when we distribute a book and convince someone. You may give them a book, but what will make the difference that they read the book or that they just put it on the bookshelf? Either one is good. But we want to have so much purity of the heart that they will be convinced just by meeting us that I must read this book. This person has something that I want. Just like if you're a materialistic person, you see Elon Musk, you say, I want that. I want to be multi-billionaire. So we should see that. Here's Parikshit Maharaj, here's Srila Prabhupada, here are the pure devotees of the Lord. I want to be like that. And because I want to do what they're requesting me to do. And how can I do it unless I'm like that? So that should be our mood. Certainly, whether we're able to do it or not. Srila Prabhupada said one time when we're distributing books, he said that your duty is to go and offer Krishna consciousness. Whether they take it or not, that depends on Paramatma. And it's true, but it also depends on Paramatma in my heart being pleased with me, so that his other expansion in their heart goes, wake up, Jeev Jago. So both things must be there. So I don't want to hold everyone up. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Sai Gaur Premanandi.
Prasad Swami Maharaj ki jai. Thank Maharaj for his kind association. Please come.
I will keep it. I always say that if I can't come so often, you can only blame it on Gopal Krishna Maharaj. That he made too many places. No, so many places, and other devotees, other of our Vaishnava leaders. Now, especially in India, how can you go everywhere? No. If I was to go to every outpost extent, no, I'd have to go to 3 places a day. No. And just to go the whole year going 3 places a day. No. So that's wonderful. But now as leaders, we have to make sure that all those places are up to the utmost standard of purity. No. Hare Krishna. Maharaj.
I heard this from you several times.
Prabhupada made this temples to train monks. Very beautiful principles behind punishment, self-awareness, balancing and the right sensibility good. At the same time, we learn
I'm just trying to do some service. Haribol.
so because hang Maharaj and nowadays we take Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Holiness Guru Prasad Maharaj ki
Rama in Sanskrit. Ram in Hindi. Ram.
also all NITC devotees and honor Prasad, the new